So I should have came out here a few minutes ago when the sun was behind the clouds and it wasn't quite so hot and I didn't have to squint so much. But my timing sometimes is not very good. But it's tomato time and we're going to put some tomatoes in the ground. Last year I had a friend of mine, Holly, who I think is the tomato guru. She's actually the gardening guru. That woman can make the most amazing garden grow, and she has awesome tomatoes. And she told me how she planted them. And so I used what she told me last year, and I had great tomatoes as well. And you might be a little surprised by some of the things that go in there, but I'll explain why they're there. And my tomatoes probably were at least 4 foot tall, and I'm not talking about the ones that go up the trellises or anything. These are just the ones that were in the tomato baskets or tomato cages. And I had to even go buy some bigger tomato cages because those tomatoes were so big and they were so laden with fruit. And we, excuse me, we had tomatoes all season long. And even at the end of the year when it was getting too cold for them to ripen, we made green tomato chili verde because we had so many green tomatoes and I just couldn't let them go for waste. And that was so yummy. So I hope that we have the same thing this year. I hope we have so many tomatoes that we don't know what to do with them. But let me show you what I'm going to start with. All right, so I've dug a hole, number one. But what has she got? Antacid. Huh. And aspirin, fertilizer, and soil additive, and oh, she's got a tomato. Yes, these are all the things that I put in that hole to make that tomato grow big. So why? So we're going to take one of these aspirin, and it helps to the plant to be really healthy, and it does away with some ailments that tomato plants can get. And the antacid is 100% calcium, and if you don't want to have end rot on the ends of your tomatoes need calcium, and this always works. I do put a little bit of fertilizer, and I put a little bit of that soil additive in there, and then we put the tomato in. So let's get started. You're going to wonder, how are you going to put that aspirin and that antacid in that hole? So I just take this little aspirin, and they have to be regular aspirin, 325 milligram, and good luck finding them. I ended up last year going to Amazon to get them because I couldn't even find them. I couldn't find them at Walmart. I couldn't find them anywhere. So usually I have a a grinder thing, but my mom's been using it and I don't have it. So I'm going to just take this little, and we're just going to grind that aspirin up, maybe. I haven't tried it yet. And yes, I have dirty thumbs. Oh, there we go. So this is a little bit time consuming, I agree, but it does help. It really does help. And all you have to do is just, pop it up so that it will dissolve in that hole. And so what I usually do is I just take a little bit of dirt, sprinkle it in there so that I can get everything, and then just put it in the bottom, just like that. And the same thing with the antacid. I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to grind it up. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I guess I pushed the wrong button, but here is that antacid all ground up, and I'm just going to put it in the bottom of that hole also. And then we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to put a little touch of fertilizer, just a little sprinkle. And then here we're going to take just the same amount of that additive, that soil additive, and put that down in the bottom. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take some dirt and put it over the top of it, so that none of that is directly on the roots of the tomato, okay? Pat it down a little bit, because if it gets on the roots of the tomato before it starts to dissolve, it'll burn those roots. All right, and then we're gonna take this tomato right here, and this is one of the ones I had to go over to the nursery and buy last week, but they've really taken off, and it's a Champion, VENT. And it says that they're a solid, meaty fruit that's good on sandwiches. And I love tomato sandwiches. So we're going to go ahead and put probably 6 of these into this grow bed. And we'll take that out. We'll do just the same thing that we did. First of all, I'm going to have you take off these bottom, probably the bottom, I don't know, a couple of inches, because we're going to have the same thing that we had when we were transplanting these. We want to go ahead and we're going to put them deep, and we're going to go ahead and they'll start making roots up here, so it'll make it a good, strong tomato. So then I'm just going to, with this basket, or excuse me, with this peat bag pot, just want you to just kind of see how you do that. Same thing. And if they're wet, they're so much easier to do. And you're not taking them apart, so you're not disturbing the roots, but you're just breaking that peat pot apart so that it will be easy for it to, for the roots to go out. And then I do that all the way around. And then I also, see how the roots are already coming out? This is ready. I just take and pop off that bottom, and it'll come off really easy too. All right, and then we're just going to put that down in the tomato hole, right? And then I'm going to take this and kind of grind it up with my hands so that it's nice and kind of soft, a little softer than if it's clotted up. And put it all the way around those tomatoes. Oh, my arms are getting in the way, aren't they? But put them all the way around those tomatoes. Bring that up. And see, this is just some material from the compost that's in there. But anyway, just bring them all the way up. See that? How that is? Pat it down a little bit. And look at this. I have a volunteer tomato. And even though it's teeny and it's tiny, I just can't bring myself to pull it up. If it made it through the winter we had last year, then it deserves to be there. So there's the first one. The sun's back out, and I'm going to go ahead. Now, this bed that I have is probably about 4 foot by 3 foot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 6 tomatoes in this. Now, I'm sure that if you're listening to that's probably sounds like it's pretty close, especially if these tomatoes grow as big as I say they're going to grow. But I'm going to put a cage around them, and I'll just keep them upright, and they will grow fine as long as you continue to feed them all season. Don't forget that about this whole entire garden. Continue to feed them all season long. And I'll be back when this bed is planted. Okay, so there's something that I forgot to tell you. When you're putting these in, and this is the easiest time to do it, as you see these right in between this limb and the stem, right in that notch, there is a little plant starting, and I just call them crotch tomatoes, and you just need to pinch that and get rid of it. And the reason why you need to do that is because those will not produce fruit. Only these will produce fruit. And I know it's kind of a pain in the butt. This one, if you notice, is kind of a bigger one right there. Just pinch it off. This one is on, oops, sorry if you can't see that. This one is on the stem. It's not there in the crotch. So that one can just stay there. And then these that are on here are much bigger. If you, whoops, I'm sorry. If you'll notice right here, this one is much bigger, but you just still need to get that out of there. Now this one is going to make tomatoes. See that? They're already starting to blossom. But just make sure if it's right there in the V, just pinch them off, get rid of them, because they're not going to make any fruit, and they're just going to take nutrition from your plant. Okay, the very first tomato batch is planted. I did find another little volunteer right there, and I just can't bring myself to pull them up. Excuse me. In the past, I have put tomatoes along this side and along this side, and then like 2 in the middle. But last year, with how great the tomato production was and how great the plants grew, it just was too much. And they didn't get enough airflow. So I'm just going to leave it to 6 in that bed now. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to get done tonight. It's clouding over. It wasn't supposed to rain tonight, but I don't believe the weathermen anymore anyway. So I'll try and get some peppers planted and get a video out on them. But we're doing good. This garden will be finished in the next couple of days, even if I have to do it by myself. So talk to you later.